Well, after the Jacob Blake situation, there was potentially an NBA boycott. A couple of teams decided not to play, and it looked like it was going to be an actual boycott, but then it wasn't.
Yeah, they stopped for one day.
Yeah, for one day. Yeah, because it's interesting. I interviewed Craig Hodges recently. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
Okay.
I used to watch basketball.
Okay, got it. All right.
He's one of those old guys.
Yeah, and he played with Jordan.
Yeah.
He's got 2 rings. And in our interview, which I'm still annoyed hasn't resonated bigger than what it has, which is why I keep bringing it up, is that he was one of these, protest type players. He grew up in a Black Panther type household, and he, his mom was like a protester. He was going door to door, signing up people for voting and everything else like that. Before the Lakers and the Bulls played in the finals, he talked about Jordan and Magic and said we should all not take the floor in protest. And both of them said, nah. Jordan said he was crazy, and Magic Johnson said that's way too extreme. So neither one of them did that. Okay, so then in 91, the Bulls get to the championships.
Yes.
And you guys played the Lakers with Magic Johnson.
Absolutely.
Well, before game 1, you actually approached both Jordan and Magic.
Right.
And you suggested that the teams not take the floor.
Right.
As a protest to the social injustice that's happening with Black people in America.
And see, it wasn't just, and that's, I think, my position at that point in time was we didn't have Black owners, Black management, Black executives. At that point in time, we have an opportunity with 21 of the 24 athletes. And that's one of the things I was talking to Horace Grant about that this morning, because he called me to get clarification. And I was telling Horace, I was like, brother, when I was talking to y'all in 1991, half of y'all was looking at me like I had my third eye literally outside of my head. So when I would ask y'all, brothers, what about us boycott? It was so cursory to y'all. It was so like nonsensical. It was just a fleeting thought. So when I brought it to Magic and MJ, y'all didn't take it serious. I know y'all didn't.
Well, I mean, really, if you look at Jordan and Magic, they're not Black.
Really? Explain.
I don't think they're Black.
What are they?
They're other. If the cop pull over Magic, as soon as he sees Magic, he's gonna ask for his autograph.
Right.
He's not gonna tell him to get on the ground or cuff him or nothing like that. He's gonna treat him totally different. If they pull over Michael Jordan, it's gonna be the same thing.
Oh yeah.
So these guys have transcend, kind of like what OJ had said about himself. I'm not Black, I'm OJ.
OJ, yeah.
So those guys don't have the same experiences that people who walk the street every day have. So they couldn't feel the same way. Even I was just watching how long it took them to speak out on the George Floyd situation. They didn't speak out until after the white power started to say that it wasn't cool. And then I noticed they all started to fall in line, but they didn't say it before because they didn't want to rock the boat. Their checks is tied to them living a certain lifestyle, to them being the way the man want them to be.
Yeah, but at a certain point, you say, look, I'm rich enough. If I lose a few extra $1 million, man, fuck it. Like, I remember, like, I'm cool with Waka Flocka, but, I remember he made a statement saying, ain't no way I'm voting for Biden because my taxes are going to go up. And me and Waka are probably in a similar tax bracket. And I'm like, fuck those taxes. Like, if my taxes go up to get Trump out of office and help the country and the world, then my taxes will go up. I'm okay. It'll be okay. Waka's not starving. He's not borderline homeless. He'll be all right. So to sit there and say, I'm gonna, because if you don't vote for Biden, you are helping Trump get elected.
Absolutely.
You know, for example, you talked about this on your Instagram page about felons and their voting rights. And a lot of people are a little bit unclear on this because it varies state to state, right?
Right.
In California, can you vote as a felon?
We can.
100%, or is there
Once you're off
stipulations?
parole.
Aha. Is there a fee involved or something like that?
No fee.
Okay, because I think in certain places like Florida, you have to pay a fee or something.
Yeah, some places they won't allow you, even after you get off parole and everything. You know, which they eliminate probably, you figure in this country, it's probably 50 million people that has been convicted of crimes. Maybe more than that, even.
With felonies, you mean?
Yeah, felonies.
Let's look it up. Here we go. 3% of the total U.S. population and 15% of African-American male population have served time in prison. People with felony convictions more broadly account for 8% of the overall population, 33% of the African-American male population. So let's do some math. About 26 million people in America have felonies. That's a big number. That could move an election in either direction.
Absolutely.
Either direction. There has never been an election where it varied by more than 26 million votes.
Yeah.
That I'm aware of. I might be wrong, but I'm just going to put that out there. Usually it's a lot closer. I mean, in fact, Trump actually lost the popular vote.
He did. I think by 2 million.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying.
So
imagine 26 million.
26 more, Hillary would have won.
Hillary would have won 100%. So it's interesting because I talked to a good friend of mine who's a Washington insider. You know, he actually works for the mayor of Washington, D.C. And he told me flat out, he said, look, if you want to use your platform to help Biden win, the only way you're going to do that is to get more people to register. That's it. Because I think that a lot of people feel, well, if I don't vote for anybody, that's like me not voting for Trump.
Right.
And it's really the exact opposite. Because I don't think in my lifetime I have seen a group of people more devoted to a president than Trump supporters.
I agree. I've never seen the Senate function the way it functions right now.
Yeah.
You know, in the court of law, you've never in the court of law is a jury supposed to have their mind made up before the trial starts. And we saw lawmakers before for the impeachment hearing saying, I already made my mind up.
Right. They wouldn't allow witnesses.
Well, because their mind was already made up.
Right. Because he got impeached, right? He just wasn't kicked out.
He got impeached by Congress, but the Senate has to kick him out. You know, Congress can't kick him out. But you know, the Democrats run Congress, so the Republicans run the Senate. So they are afraid of Twitter, that Twitter finger. They don't want to get lashed by that Twitter finger, so they pretty much let him do whatever he wants to do.
Yeah.
I mean, unbelievable. I never thought that I would have saw this in America.
Right, because let me just make it very clear to everybody. If you are not a Trump supporter, right? If you don't like Trump and you don't vote, I can guarantee you that the Trump supporters, not only are they voting, but they're making sure their friends come to the polls, their family comes to the polls. Trump even suggested recently that people try to vote twice, you know, to go to the polls and mail in the vote, which is completely illegal. But, you know, far be it from Trump to say something and get pinged for it.
The other night I was watching CNN. It was late. It was about 12 o'clock at night, you know, because I usually talk on the phone when I'm doing my late night calls and I'm watching CNN at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was blessed to catch Cornel West come on there. And he said some stuff that was so profound to me that I was just like, wow. He said, America has a choice. And he said that Martin Luther King said this in his last speech that he was writing right before he got killed. This speech never came out. And Martin Luther King said that America is going to be at a pivot point to where either it could go to hell or it could not go to hell. And I think that Trump has pivoted that pivot that he was talking about with what he's doing right now. I mean, I don't know if this guy's if he loses the vote, if he's gonna come out of office.
Right. He may have to be forcibly removed.
Yeah.
They may have to call in the National Guard to.
Who they gonna call though? The Senate is probably gonna back him. If he said that the votes was rigged and the count is not right, and the Senate,
I'm not going
until we get this straight.
Yeah.
You know, it was fraudulent. I mean, he's already setting it up for that right now.
Of course.
You know, with all the fraudulent,
of course,
the mail is going to be fraudulent. This is going to be fraudulent.
Right. He was trying to affect the mail system. Remember that?
He's affecting the mail system.
Getting rid of the sorting machines where the votes won't be counted in enough time, because he knows that, like, once again, his voters will be at the polls. They'll risk their lives. They will sit there in that 7-hour line with their grandmother who's 103 years old, and they're you know, all 28 of their kids and all their uncles and aunts, and they're going to vote. They're going to vote.
I mean, they go to the rallies.
Yeah.
With no mask on.
No mask on.
Social distance. I mean, they are totally defying science. You know, it's like, I don't know, it's like retarded. But then even my younger brother, I just found out is a diehard Trump supporter. You know, he's like, man, Trump is the greatest thing since fire. You know,
and he wears the hat and everything.
Man, this guy, I couldn't believe it. I just found out the other day. You know, we were sitting out at the yard, and him and one of my friends, they started arguing about it, and I looked at him. I was like, what? Are you not hearing the stuff that I've been hearing? You know, and like they were talking about. He was saying, so what about taking down the statues? No, you shouldn't take down the statues, even though these guys were the guys fought to keep slavery. And I was like, what are you talking about? Man, did you come up under me? Where did you get this from? So they are diehard Trump fans, you know, and now with the government giving this money out, they feel that Trump gave them that money. You know, he had his name put on those checks.
That funky ass $1,200, really?
Yeah, you know, with some people, man, that was the most money they ever had before in their life.
Right.